lucky to have today Carolyn Trickett from JLL Spark Ventures. She's a principal there. She's part of a global team across America, Europe, and Australia. And as a collective, they've invested over $425 million in early stage startups. They've actually supported over 55 of them. So it's a very meaningful impact they're having on the commercial real estate space. So we're going to hear from Carolyn about how the CRE sector is finally embracing digital transformation and how institutional and market pressure is acting as the bugle salute ceremony, accelerating change for real estate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The speaking slot after lunch. I've got a lot of slides to keep you visually entertained, and hopefully I'm also kind of funny like this guy. Right. I've got the clicker. All good. The commercial real estate industry is at an inflection point. Any company that recognises this moment will capture extraordinary opportunities. In this session, I'm going to explain to you the pressure points that are forcing even the most traditional corporate real estate company to abandon their old ways and embrace technology right now. It's creating unprecedented openings for nimble Proptech companies that can move decisively while their larger competitors may struggle to adopt. Let's explore the opportunities. I'm going to give you some insight into JLL's latest research in this space and also talk about how JLL's leading the way with some of our investments in reshaping the industry. There's 4 critical pressure points that are all happening right now to contribute to this change. We've got labour shortages happening. We've got scale demands. Sorry, familiarising myself with the clicker there. Labour shortages, where we're struggling to find enough people. We've got scale demands, where institutional investors are continuing to grow and need infrastructure to support that. We've got value creation requirements, where large investors really need to innovate to enhance their profitability. And there's competitive pressure, a little bit of FOMO, where any large organisation can look around and see its competitors talking and acting in their technology journey. And the elephant in the room, I guess, here is that we're now at this point where AI can change all of that so much faster than technology that we had 4, 5, 10 years ago. So let's have a little look at the labour shortage question. In Australia, the construction industry was responsible for 7% of GDP in the previous financial year, employing about 1.3 million people. But we've got a labour gap. The Master Builders Association did an assessment of how many people we've got in the labour force right now and how many people are we going to need. And there's an ongoing gap that grows over time. Infrastructure Australia did the same type of analysis. How many big projects are going to be coming up in the next few years and how many people do we need to support those? And the answer is we do not have enough. Meanwhile, institutional investors, especially in the last decade, have increased the allocation of their capital towards real estate assets. And it's plateaued now, but it's still a pretty big allocation. And there's a shortage as well. When we talk about the types of infrastructure and commercial real estate that need to be built, there's generally a supply shortage. So what we do at JLL is we analyse ourselves and our clients and our competitors, and we run a number of surveys. And I thought I'd start today by having a little look back at 2023. We produced a survey, our very first ever global technology survey, and it was within the year that ChatGPT was first released to the open market. So everybody started understanding what AI was going to do. So we asked them, what do you think are the technologies that are going to create the most impact? And that's no surprise, right? We've got AI, machine learning, generative AI at the top of the list. And then we ask them, well, what's your knowledge level? And we see those items down the bottom of the list. Also, no surprise, because everybody was still in that really early learning phase. What really is AI and how can it help us all? So we also asked them back then, what are your intentions? Are you going to be increasing your technology spend? And over 80% of both our investor clients and our occupier clients said, yes, we are going to be increasing our tech spend. So what does that mean for us in this space in Proptech? What this means is that there are so many more opportunities than there were 5 years ago, 10 years ago. We're talking to these clients about how they want to spend their money and what do they think is important. In our 2025 survey that's just been released in the last month, we asked more deep and delving questions about what are they going to spend their money on. Not just do you think it's important, but what do you think is important? And you can see here, AI is showing up all over the place in terms of where the spend is going to be and what our clients think is important. Is that just me, or does that slide look a little bit squished on there? Strategic advisory, upgrading cyber and data security, upgrading digital infrastructure. So when you think about a large organisation that's considering how do I get more AI enablement into my tech stack, a lot of what they have to do first is spend money on that foundational layer where they're getting the right infrastructure into place, they're getting enough bandwidth into place so that they can leverage these tools. So the question then is, how do we take advantage of that? Let's move down to that. What do these clients actually think? So when I talk about clients, I'm talking about clients of a commercial real estate company like JLL. Those clients are investors, so the owners of real estate. And JLL also has a really big occupier base. So we provide workplace management and facility management services to large corporate enterprises. And because they are the users of the corporate real estate, what they think is also really important. And it's important because they're the ones that have got the money that they pay to the owners. So we ask them, what is technology important to you? 94% of our enterprise occupiers would pay a premium for tech-enabled space. And that's a big jump on what it was a couple of years ago. 93% of the owners believe that having a tech-enabled space is going to lead to more profitability of their portfolios. And that, I believe, is why there is so much opportunity now. Because when I started in my career in real estate, which was 17 years ago now at JLL, nobody cared very much about tech. We really had to fight for our tech budgets. And when the global financial crisis was happening, no one wanted to spend money on anything, let alone tech. So the storyline has really changed over the time that I've been in that organisation. So what else is happening? What are these organisations doing and what do they want to invest in? The first thing we've discovered is that the AI adoption has accelerated within these companies way beyond expectations. So we looked over time. So it's not just this technology survey that I'm talking about, but there was also surveys about what is the future of work. We asked these organisations, what do you think working is going to be like in the future? And what do you think your office spaces will need to be like to support that type of work? So you can see all of these, except robots, all the others have increased to over 80% adoption since 2022. Sorry about the robots. That's a whole other talk. I'll put that forward next time. But industrial robots, they're still struggling to catch up. Humanoid ones, scary looking ones, they just can't keep up. So all this is a good sign. More good signs coming up. We said, what are you prioritising your spend on? What are the functional areas that you're interested in? And we can see here, Data-related workflow is number one on this list. So when we think about the types of work that happens in a commercial real estate organisation, an enormous amount of that work is administrative work. It's emailing, it's sending messages, it's creating brochures, it's processing rent payments, it's processing invoices that need to be paid, and there's incredible layers of manual intervention and passing of papers, and maybe not papers anymore, emails and checklists and things that are really time consuming and take up a lot of the budget of these organisations to pay the people to do all of that. And that is up at number one of the types of processes that these organisations want to transform. We can also see portfolio optimization. And what that means in the corporate world is a large corporate enterprise. Let's think of Amazon. How many warehouses do you need? How many office spaces do you need? And how many are you going to need 3 months, 12 months, 2 years from now? And what are you going to do about reorganising that space to make it the most optimum for your people? So that's the number two. And then we've got the energy. And I think that's, depending on which country you're talking about, there's going to be varying different levels of interest, but across the board, 93% of our respondents said that sustainability, energy efficiency and decarbonisation has been and will be continue to be the biggest drivers for real estate, tech and AI. How mature are these companies in terms of their journey? Only 5% of them rate themselves as in their early stages of their journey now in tech enabling their businesses. The majority of them are in that mid stage. So the ones that are in that early 5%, they're still learning about AI, working out what are the use cases for AI in their organisations, understanding what type of resourcing, what type of governance you're going to need if you're going to put AI into your tech stack. And the more advanced companies, the ones that are up in that higher level, they're the ones that are going to be thinking about project delivery assistance. They're looking at technical concepts. They're thinking more about the cybersecurity and looking for case studies and examples of how best to approach this. Another look at the functional areas. So it's interesting to see this. We're talking about corporate real estate, but the thing that they're making the most progress on is employee experience, because even real estate companies care about how their employees experience their day at work. And then we've got productivity, all the other usual suspects, learnings to inform a longer term strategy and increasing the digital capacity of the corporate real estate team. So a lot of this, again, is a foundational work that needs to be done to enable your organisation to embrace more tech and more AI. What are the challenges that they faced? Oops, no, wrong slide. What is the approach that they're taking? So there's the top-down approach and there's the bottom-up approach when you're thinking about the functions that are happening, the processes in your organisation and how you're going to identify your use cases. So the top-down approach is more traditional. You know, you've got your people in their roles who are thinking about business process and how do we improve that, identifying use cases, saying this is a really good low-hanging fruit for tech enablement, digitalisation and AI. And then the bottom-up approach is more from the end user perspective, getting people who are actually doing the work every day to think of ways that AI can help them do their job better. And those can often end up having much more impact on the organisation than the people in the ivory tower going, this is how we're going to transform our process. I say that with tongue in cheek because I'm one of those people. We used to be one of those people. So the scope. This is my most important slide, everybody, even though it's got a lot of boxes on it. What are the functions that these organisations are targeting in terms of what they need to enable? So there's two main categories here. On the left, we've got the enterprise AI. So this is the types of AI that apply to all organizations. We've talked a lot about that this morning. It's your chat GPTs, it's your LLMs, it's your co-pilots, it's the products and tools that can help everybody. And then on the right-hand side, these are the corporate real estate specific functions. So we've got things to do with capital project planning, portfolio management, workplace experience, day-to-day building operations. These are the use cases that organisations are looking at tech enabling, and every single section on that side is ripe for disruption. Screwed up my number one line. Every single section on this is ripe for disruption. I told you I'm funny. Because new products in this space can make a change so much faster than a traditional product. When we look at the landscape of tech products in our market, there's a lot of products that are grappling with technical debt. Maybe they were designed last century, maybe they were designed last decade, and it's not always easy to transform those types of products into something that's using AI and taking advantage of the new technologies. Sometimes that takes more work than somebody who's building something from scratch that's AI native. Am I the first person to say that term today? All right. And that's what we see at Spark, where we are seeing a flood of products that are AI native, where somebody who might have designed a system 2 years ago that never got off the ground is now able to build it faster. They're able to make it work nicer. It's going to have a better user experience because they're able to embed some of those AI functionalities in their product. So nope, there's my challenges slide that I tried to start before. The challenges that these organisations are facing in terms of their AI journey or their tech enablement journey, because it's not always about AI. So we asked them, what are your top 3 challenges? Cost of implementation and budget. And I know we've got a lot of startup companies in the room that struggle to get across the line with their bigger clients, who then put up their hand and go, oh, we haven't got the budget, which is infuriating when you're a small company that knows that these companies have got budget. But they're all still struggling with prioritisation of that budget. Data quality and availability, risks and data security, also not very surprising. But what I like on this chart, I like number 5, no available products that meet our needs. That to me and that to you means that there's new ideas that need to be created and new products that these companies are looking for. I'm actually on a mission. I started my mission last month, and it's going to continue to get these organisations to tell us, what are you looking for? Because there's no map out there of what these companies are really trying to achieve. So finding out what those are so that our tech organisations, our startup members can create new products to meet those needs, that's what we're trying to do. So, no, I just went too far. So the question is, in these types of use cases, what can AI actually do inside these products? We're talking about a theoretical product here. So there's 4 main categories here. They could be the core capability. So you've got a product that's based on image recognition, image generation. You could have enhanced analytics, where you've got tools now that can go through and analyse your data for you. We've got new user interfaces, where you can have a chat interface. You can chat with your data instead of reading 17 dashboards, all which were designed by somebody who isn't the one who really needs the information from them. And you find out that the client wants the 18th dashboard, not the 17th one. And automated processes. That's the agentic AI, where we're building, you can see products now that are actually starting to start the work for you. Maybe they're not doing the whole task, but they're initiating a task and saying, looks like you might need to do this next. Looks like this email, your client wants you to send them something. Here it is, press send. Here's a request from a tenant who needs something fixed. Do you want to raise a work order? I've already filled in the form for you. So it's really starting to activate those processes and get the work started for you. In summary, all of these use cases, all of these functions that are able to be empowered by AI, these are empowering the end users to just do their job better. So as we've been analysing all of this input from our clients, we've also been analysing what does this really mean in terms of the future of work. And we've all been hearing about hybrid work ad nauseum for the last 5 years. And we're now looking at a different type of hybrid work. Maybe you're working in the office and from home, but you're also doing some of your job yourself, and some of it's been AI enabled. I love that concept. So what's happening in JLL in terms of our AI journey? I think JLL probably started our AI journey 10 years ago before everybody knew why or what it meant. And we started that with a really solid foundational layer of data. And I say before we even knew we were doing it, because at that time I was building data warehouse platform and I had no idea that we could one day put an AI layer on that to interrogate the data. We were building those dashboards that I mentioned earlier. So now we can see the fruits of that labour. We've built our own internal GPT so that our staff can use the power of something like ChatGPT, but it's contained, it's within our organisation. Our questions don't go out to the public, and we're not submitting any of our data to the public. We can load up documents, we can load up data, we can have JLL GPT analyse for us without actually sharing it with the public. We've got a whole bunch of other stuff, but I've been given my 5-minute warning, so I'm not going to go into that. And I'm going to skip that one too, because what I wanted to finish up with today is to give you some live examples of what we've invested in, how AI is empowering these products. So some of you have heard me talk about open space before. This is a product that is AI native because it started using computer vision to analyse what's going on a project site. So you can walk around with a 360-degree camera. It's like an indoor Google Street View. You'll capture all the footage, stitch it up automatically into a virtual walkthrough. So instead of having somebody go to the project site every week or every month to check on the progress, one person can walk around and share that with everybody on the project so that they can see the progress and compare it to last week. You can compare it to the building management system, and you can use it further down the track for maintenance and wayfinding. Another one of my favourites, Elise AI. This is a chatbot for residential leasing inquiries. So this is in the US, where the big multifamily developments are everywhere and they're always busy leasing out the apartments in their developments. We've got a chatbot that can answer phone calls, reply to emails, reply to text, book appointments, take complaints from the tenants and chase them up when they haven't paid their rent. So we've got a lot of examples. I haven't got time to go through them all today. Anyone who's interested in learning more about these, please come and talk to me or have a look at our website. We've got a whole bunch of AI-empowered products in our portfolio. And the last one before I run out of time, another one of my favourites, Cubic. It's almost like the reverse of open space. Open space is a reality capture. Cubic is a virtual walkthrough creator. So all you have to do is feed in a floor plan, put in a few parameters about what you want the space to look like, and it'll generate 100 options of what you might want that floor space to look like when there's a tenant in there. That used to take days, weeks, maybe even months, depending on the backlog of the designers that we used to use. Now we can feed it in, get it back in 24 hours. So that was a quick wrap up. Thank you for listening. Hope you're all still awake. And please follow our newsletter and have a look at our website for more exciting information about all the technology in the commercial real estate world. Thank you.